My name is Marie-Louise Ryan. I'm a farm animal vet here at Mulcair Vets in Cappamore, County Limerick. We're a 9-vet mixed practice. Well, technically there's 12 vets, 9 of us are farm animal vets, and we're operating between Cappamore, County Limerick and Newport, County Tipperary. So I suppose the first place you start is with calves. So, the importance of colostrum is huge, and it's a case of, following the 3-2-1 rule, 3 litres of colostrum, like in the first 2 hours of life of the first milking from the cow. The quicker you get that colostrum harvested and into the calf, the better chance you have of securing good passive transfer of immunity from the calf or to the calf from the cow. It's important to harvest that colostrum cleanly. Use nice clean stomach tube, go and get new supplies for this year, have a clean tube for feeding calves, have one for sick calves as well, which is completely separate. Store colostrum in clean buckets with lids so that, the cats can't be having a drink out of the bucket there when it's sitting in the parlour. And it's just about doing the basics well and cleanly. That's really, really important for calves, keeping them warm, making sure there's no drafts in them. It's a really useful thing, I think, to get a maximum thermometer as well and hang it up beside the calf feeder so that you know the swings in temperature that are in the shed every day, and you can put jackets on calves, and if you need to put on heater lamps or close the door or organise positive pressure ventilation, you can do that. If you're in a situation where you find yourself having calved a cow and it was quite a hard calving, it's really important to get pain relief into cow and calf, talk to your vet, see what they recommend. Tender loving care goes a long way in these situations. Get the calf under a red light, get it dry, get it warm, get it fed, get your cow eating as quick as possible, make sure she's up, and then it's a case of making sure that she keeps eating and keeps going, because otherwise she's going to run into trouble. So the transition period is such an important time. It's your 3 weeks coming up to calving and 3 weeks after calving. I suppose to set yourself up really well for that, it's about mineral status in the cow. So get your vet to do mineral bloods, get your silage tested for minerals and nutritional value, so you know what you have and what you're feeding. When cows are freshly calved, if you start running into bits of issues with milk fever, go and get freshly calved cows blood tested for calcium and magnesium and see where their levels are at. You may be feeding enough pre-calv or mineral, but you can still run into issues with high K and silage and things like that. So, chat to your vet, get some minerals taken on the cows, see where they're at. Silage analysis is also really beneficial. It's really important that you need to keep feed into cows, so make sure there's enough feed at the barrier in calving pens, because I think in a lot of cases herds are really big. There's probably a lot of cows in the calving pens for the first couple of weeks. There's probably not enough barrier space either, so it's a case of having fresh fodder put into those cows multiple times a day to keep them eating when they're in there. Routine cleanings in cows, generally it's calcium related in terms of the subclinical milk fevers going on, or there can be other immune issues as well. So I would certainly start with blood testing freshly calved cows the first 24 hours to 48 hours after calving. Talk to your vet, get them out if they're doing something else in the yard, get them to pull a few bloods off those freshly calved cows, see what their calcium status is like. So while you may not have cows down with milk fever, you can still have subclinical milk fever lurking in the background. And it's we kind of talk about 5% of milk fever cases being an acceptable level, but those 5%, there could be 30% behind them with subclinical milk fever. So it's really, really the tip of an iceberg is what you see. These down cows with milk fever actually are only the tip of the iceberg is what's going on behind it. If cows holding cleanings, there's a huge knock-on effect for fertility in the coming lactation. If you start running into trouble with that, it's definitely talk to your vet, troubleshoot and see where we can go. No, I'm very much a keen fan of leaving nature to do its own thing. If a cow hasn't dropped a cleaning in 7 days, get your vet to take it. I certainly think there's sometimes, routine visits in spring actually aren't a bad thing. Chat to your vet, see if you set up that, particularly in big herds where you can gather up a few things that aren't urgent cases in a morning together and do a few jobs like taking cleanings, washing our cows, things like that, taking a few bloods. The other thing is really worthwhile if you've a vet in the yard is to take some bloods off calves just to check your passive transfer in terms of your colostrum management. So really simple, pull some bloods off calves that are less than 7 days old, bring them back to the clinic, we run them just to check their serum total proteins. It's not a big job, it's really beneficial in terms of knowing what's going on. Do it at the start of spring, middle of spring, end of spring, particularly if you've staff involved as well. It's a really good way of making sure that everyone's on board and everyone knows what's happening and what we're actually aiming for. So very simple thing, vet in the yard, pull some bloods off calves as well, and you can get a load of information from it. The big thing is your roadways as well. So cows are transitioning from cubicles and concrete and then moving out onto roadways and stuff. Make sure you've upgraded your roadways over the winter. Make sure there's no loose stones around them. There's been an awful lot of rainfall in the last month. Go out and have a look at those roadways before you let cows out. Again, your mineral bloods will tell you a lot in terms of zinc and things like that, which are quite good for hoof health. So, if you're low in zinc, you can go and look at a mineral that has a higher level of zinc. Some boluses now have biotin in them as well, which is good for hoof health. And I suppose don't forget your routine hoof bathing, which I know when it's peak spring and everything is going on and cows are calving and you milking once a day or twice a day, or cows on and off grazing, it's chaotic, but at least try and get the cows going through the parlour through a footbath as well.